Yeah, the bloody cunts watching this. Your teacher's a cunt. You can cut that one out.
Are you fine with this being recorded for the sake of video for like a school project?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna run through a quick introduction that I have, and then we can start with our conversation. Thanks.
Alright, brilliant.
As the significance of gaming continues to grow, it's becoming increasingly important to understand why people harass women in games, so we can figure out what can be done to prevent harassment and mitigate its effects. Hello, I'm and today I'm joined here with Hanannie in the first ever episode of the TMPR podcast to discuss how harassment affects women in gaming spaces. She primarily creates content for Runescape and has more recently raised over $30,000 for Rise Above the Disorder to provide over 1,000 sessions of free therapy. I'm sitting down with her today to talk about her experience as a woman in gaming, because in my time on the internet, I've noticed that women tend to face a lot more arbitrary harassment criticism than men. Then some people turn around and say they're only successful because they're female. So I wanted to explore why people harass women and what can be done to mitigate the effects of targets of harassment. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And before we get started, was there anything I missed in your introduction?
I mean, no, I'm just impressed by how professional this is.
Okay, so I'm going to start with a very serious question, asked by someone in your clan chat, actually. Is there ice cream flavored ice cream?
The answer to that is obviously no. That person is an idiot and they shall be removed from the clan.
Anyways, into the serious questions. Do you feel like gaming has been an overall positive aspect of your life?
I mean, yeah, well, it is my life at this point. I've turned it into a career, so if it wasn't positive, I would be having a very miserable life.
Yeah. Can you explain how you kind of got into gaming and what your experience with that has been?
I mean, it's always been an escape from a very young age, you know. Runescape, the game I primarily play, my blessing and my curse. I played it when I was about 8 years old, and ever since then, it's sort of been, this escape for me. This little world outside of the world that I can run to, and none of the problems are real. So,
what types of problems is it an escape for, if you wouldn't mind me asking?
Well, I'm transgender, as you can probably tell by the voice, so... You know, the world isn't the kindest to people like me.
Seeing as you brought up that you're trans, do you feel like that's garnered you more harassment from people?
Well, I mean, it's both a good thing and a bad thing, as much as, you know, who I am as a person can be condensed into positives and negatives, but there is a large contingency of the internet that is predominantly fueled by anger of someone who has no control over how they're born, and those people, they're quite we'll say dangerous when it comes to identity. They like to speak their opinions without being asked. But the flip side of that is also, as a YouTuber, people come to me with this parasocial relationship where they sort of latch onto you, and if they have elements that they can latch onto, such as if they relate to the gender dysphoria that you feel, you know, so people are more supportive because of the increased hate. So it's a double-edged sword, you know?
You mentioned that some people target you specifically because of being trans. Why do you think people feel the need to harass someone?
Well, I mean, that just goes into why people have transphobia. It's a very complex question, but I guess it boils down to misogyny. If we want to break down the whole trans debate at the moment in politics, it's all about misogyny, where women are seen as lesser than men. So when a man in their eyes chooses to be a woman, which is completely incorrect, it's not a choice, but when that happens, it seems like a man is lowering the social credit. That's my theory of where trans hate comes from. You
mentioned that you this stems from people feeling women are lesser than men. Do you think this also is why people harass women just at large?
Yes, entirely. And gaming being a predominantly male-dominated space, it's easier to get away with outright misogyny towards women. It's an escape for them as much as it's an escape from us. And if they have these deep-fueled feelings of misogyny, they go to the internet to join like-minded people. In this case, in a very negative context, where the like-minded people spout horrible things and, you know, contain them in their echo chamber.
Have you at least noticed the gaming community at large becoming more positive recently? Or?
Yeah, I can't speak for the entire gaming community, but RuneScape as a whole, I'd like to think my impact had a positive effect on it. I think as my popularity rises, this might come across a little egotistical, but as my popularity rises, and I won the Community Champion Award recently for the charity work I did, and being a more public figure and more known in the community has sort of disallowed inherent hate to sprout to the top, if that makes sense. So like I over time it's actually become easier for me, whereas when I was a more underground creator and there was no predominant trans or even female creators in RuneScape, the more majority opinion was that of a worse one.
I think like at the last Pride event that was added into RuneScape, there were still like some people rioting against it like in game.
Yes,
yes,
there was.
I mean, however significant that is. So like, why do you think people actually do that? And do you think it's like the core player base of RuneScape?
Well, people who come to gaming, I don't want this to sound insulting, but people who are drawn to a more, internet secluded lifestyle tend to have less of a social element to their skill development as a child, if that makes sense. So that could be in the perspective of someone who was outspoken with their bigoted beliefs. So they come to the internet where their lack of development rather, is cherished. And that's where this dangerous ideology stems from. That was a sort of poorly worded paragraph, but I hope my point made it clear.
I think it was actually very good.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying my hardest here. I'm not used to being serious.
I really appreciate you doing this because honestly, you are saving my grade for English by joining me for this interview.
Oh, I mean, back in high school, English was my best class, so hopefully I can give you some of that.
To go to like a more general question, not like directly related, you majored in neuroscience, right?
Yes, major in neuro, minor in nano.
Okay. Why did you decide to do that?
It sounded cool.
Does Australia have like free education?
Yes, it does. So when I graduated from high school, I decided I was a fairly bright student, so I had a lot of options to me. So I just picked the thing that sounded the most interesting, which was neurology, a little bit of brain surgery, and nanotechnology. So that's basically the main reason I went into that.
Cool. Like, how far did you get into that?
I graduated. I graduated with a what's the word? I've forgotten the phrasing, but I did very well. A high distinction average. Oh yeah, with distinction, I think they put it. So, yeah. If I wanted to, I could have been a brain surgeon, but I decided to make dumb jokes on the internet. So that's where I went with my life.
Wait, why did you actually decide to start making content for YouTube?
Well, studying to be a brain surgeon is draining and miserable, to put it lightly. I think you'll never find a doctor that's happy with the work hours and the amount of work that goes into just studying. And I could not see myself committing to, I think it was 7 more years of residency before I even became a full-blown surgeon. So I just decided, I've only got one life ahead of me. I'm going to do something that I actively enjoy every day, and it gives me this opportunity to express myself. So I decided to start making YouTube videos.
So had you like completely stopped pursuing like a career in like medicine by the time you started YouTube?
Yeah. Well, the YouTube channel actually started as a little hobby while I was studying. I think I was working in a neuro clinic at Monash, which is a university here in Australia. So I was working. What's the word? What's the word where you don't get paid but you still work? It's not in. It's a different word for medicine. I don't know. It was a decade now. So.
Is it like resident or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, well, no, residence when you're medical personnel. I don't know. It was something like that. I've forgotten everything I've learned from my degree in the past decade. I've rotted my brain with shitty jokes and playing RuneScape.
What have your personal experiences with like harassment been on, like as you've grown on YouTube?
How do you want me to answer this? It's been more frequent, I guess.
Uh, I yeah, that was kind of poorly phrased. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's just vague. I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of if 1 out of 100 people are awful, and then 400,000 people watch a video, I'll put myself in a hard math situation, but that's a large number now. The percentage remains the same, but it's a larger number of harassment in that. So, yeah, it increases, exponentially with growth. But I think as you grow as a creator, you get a bit of a thicker skin. You start seeing the bigoted speech as twirly mustachio evil men, so you can start sort of dehumanizing them, as horrible as that sounds. But you can start sort of realizing that their malice comes from ignorance.
I actually saw like an article by the South China Morning Post discussing the experiences of a game developer in China, and like how she was specifically ordered to make characters like sort of sexually appealing to men when designing them. So do you feel like this type of like sort of sexualization of women in games themselves kind of like rubs off on the community at large?
Well, this is part of the reason why I love Runescape. If anyone listening doesn't know what Runescape is, it's a 20-year-old game with 4 pixels for every character. And with that limitation, it's sort of hard to fall into the baser instincts of, appealing to the male gaze. So the female characters are often not sexualized, which, as a younger child, discovering my gender identity was quite appealing, rather than the games with the overt sexualization. The newer version of RuneScape, it definitely didn't follow in that trend, but yeah, that's part of the reason I enjoyed this game.
Oh yeah, that brings me to another question I meant to ask.
Yeah.
Like how you mentioned that like it's RuneScape sort of like let you express your gender. Could you like delve a little bit deeper into that?
Well, I mean, it was part of the reason that I discovered my gender. They have a mage in RuneScape, the makeup of a mage, which lets you experiment at will, dare I say. So, with this, I was able to fully express myself in a medium where I couldn't in my real life, where I still had to keep, lying to the people around me. But online, I could be whoever the hell I wanted to be, so I could be myself.
Around when did you start like using a female character in RuneScape and like just sort of expressing your gender that way?
Immediately.
Oh, okay.
At the time, I attribute it to different things, aesthetic appeal. But when I was about 8, I think I started playing the game and immediately started with a female character.
If anyone asks, you can just say it's a smaller hitbox for PKing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Smaller hitbox, harder to click. That's what
Strategy.
they always say. I'd rather look at a woman's ass than a men's ass. That's what every trans woman says at the start.
Okay. I understand if you don't want to go into this topic, but would you be fine talking a bit about McCune? I know you've like made videos on him in the past.
Sure.
I fully understand if not.
I am, but you could ask. You could ask why. We'll see where my limit lies.
So, like, why did I not prepare any questions after this?
Right.
Okay, so, like, would you be comfortable just, like, going over what he sort of did? Or...
Yeah, so there was this awful, deplorable human named McCune in the RuneScape community who worked with a lot of creators, and he had this sort of back alley community which thrived on the abuse of women and particularly one trans woman, which is what caught my attention. So I broke the story after he did some unspeakable things. This is a high school project. I won't go into the nitty-gritty details, but after that, the abuse ran even more rampant, particularly towards me at that point. But yeah, I think the community was predominantly on the side of good, which I think is one of the big turning points when the community, the larger RuneScape community, turned from abhorrently, overtly evil to more welcoming of specific minorities.
I don't know if you've been following the story, but like at least recently, his accounts and like some that have been associated with him have been banned from the game.
Yeah,
so at least,
Yeah,
Not
that was.
the best solution, like the best
It was
ending.
more as a PR term. He has alt accounts that weren't banned, but Jagex won't
Oh.
do anything about that because they have no monetary gain to do anything about that. If you want to get into my
Yeah.
doom and gloom about
So,
how things go forward.
it's so why do you think like companies? Well, how do you think companies act with that type of thing when like touching on harassment or like stuff like
Well,
that?
I mean, companies only really care about the bottom line. So if they can foster a community with bigots, then they will make more money otherwise. Until the community starts to revolt, in which case their profit margins are at risk. So then they will start to act, but only to the minimal degree that they don't lose any more money. So Jagex, or Carlisle to be specifically their owner, is no exception to that. They will only work here. I'll give you a little. Are you gonna post this on YouTube?
I can cut out anything that you don't feel comfortable talking about.
Well, you could
Don't.
put this in your school project, but don't put this on YouTube.
So what I'm kind of hearing is that like all you really, I mean, like to get like large companies to change, you really need like a shift in like the general public's beliefs and like
Yeah, exactly.
sentiment.
The company is more of a natural force that will respond as controversy forces them to. So the only way to get a company to respond is with large scale revolt.
Okay,
It's a wrong word, but
it kind of makes sense. I mean,
it makes
like
sense.
you're voting with your money, so like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when I was researching for this, I found a source that said that like women tend to get like who are like more skilled at the game tend to like face more criticism and like harassment from men who are like lower ranked. Just wondering, like knowing this, well, actually, have you just like experienced this in your own time in gaming?
Well, I haven't experienced it because no, I'm not very good at the game. Famously, I'm more of a comedian than a skilled player. But it's definitely true. There's a reason that all of the top creators are male, especially the skill-based creators are male, and there's a reason that I had such success, partly due to my voice, because people who immediately watch my videos presume I'm male. And that gives me this sort of edge, which is depressing as is to say, is quite valuable in my success as a creator. But people do have these immediate assumptions. Not all people, obviously, but a percentage of the audience that it's not insignificant has these immediate assumptions towards women in gaming, which make it significantly harder to have success. The inverse of this is Twitch, I believe. So YouTube is mostly male dominated, but Twitch is not, because Twitch is more about building a parasocial relationship with your audience. So men relate more to women in the sense of, oh, I want to be their friend. So yeah, it's sort of this weird relationship of how people perceive you based on immediate impression.
So you mentioned that like men are like basically the top of competitive games and like YouTube for gaming in general. Would you mind like exploring why you think that that's happened?
Well, again, so YouTube is about making smaller numbers slightly larger. So, like, to get a video to do well, you make the click-through rate 11% instead of 10%. And anything that will affect that number, if 5 people stop watching your video for whatever reason, it will negatively affect the video by magnitudes of thousands. So even if one bigoted person clicks off because it's a woman, that will greatly impact the rest of the video, which is a sad reality of truth with YouTube. But to be successful on YouTube, you need to minimize all reasons for someone to click off, and you need to appeal to literally everyone. And that's how it's significantly more difficult for someone who is seen as controversial, despite the fact they're not controversial, as a woman, as a trans woman, to succeed.
Do you feel like any of your friends who are like women create content for YouTube have the same quality or like better as some of the bigger YouTubers, but like just don't have the attention that they sort of deserve?
Yeah. I mean, YouTube's a weird thing because it's not about making the best video. It's about making a good enough video a lot. So quality doesn't really rise to the top of YouTube. It's more about consistency and being good enough. So on that regard, I think a lot of women do make good enough videos, but struggle or grow slower compared to their male counterparts because just a fraction of the audience just doesn't watch for whatever reason.
Do you think like potentially not having as much support as like women get better at games and stuff could like be something that forces them out after they've like achieved a certain skill level? Maybe.
Well, I mean, if you've achieved the skill level, you're probably in for good. It's hard to get that good at video games.
Yeah.
But it definitely forces women out earlier in the process. So if, say, I try a new game, which I do sometimes, I tried League of Legends once and immediately was held slurs at, and I never came back. Whereas a male counterpart who tried League of Legends didn't receive slurs and maybe kept playing and then maybe made a career out of it. So things like that is women in particular are much more likely to be pushed out of the hobby at an earlier point just because of the unfriendly environment that some games foster.
Actually kind of relates to like one of the sources I found while researching, which like kind of said that a lot of women choose to like disguise their gender while playing games just to prevent being targeted. I was actually wondering, like, sorry if this comes off as a little bit weird to ask, but why did you decide to be like publicly trans on your YouTube channel?
Well, I never really did. So the whole ethos of my channel was I'm a Runescape creator who happens to be trans, and I never hid that from anyone. And if you watch my videos, you pick up on it subtly over time, but I'm just myself making videos, and if you figure that out, you figure it out. If you don't figure it out, you don't figure it out. Until it reached a boiling point of confusion and harassment where I just openly came out. And now I'm well known enough in the community that most people just know that I'm trans off the bat.
Do you think like being so open about like yourself has been like one of the reasons why how do you think it's affected the community that you fostered?
Well, again, this goes back to what I answered earlier, is the blessing and a curse is more people are more likely to support a trans creator if they themselves are trans, or if, they particularly want to support trans people, whereas there's ebbs and flows. I'm sure it's more negative than positive, but I've definitely fostered a more we'll say family-like community because of my identity.
That's a more general thing that's like not directly related to the topic. Like, what you said that you don't really feel like you deserved your RuneScape 3 Golden Gnomes, which are like an award that Jagex, the owner of RuneScape, gives out to creators every year. It's like, why do you feel like you don't really deserve those? I mean,
imposter syndrome mainly, but
a lot of people, like, if I remember correctly, criticized you for like getting the newcomer to RuneScape thing because you were like making content for a while.
Yeah, well, it's a weird reward. It's more about success in that year than it is being actually new. So it's more about when you find success than how long you've been making videos. But yeah.
Do you feel like if it was like maybe like a male content creator in your place, you would?
No. I don't think the vast majority of people, my gender is unrelated, apart from maybe implicit biases. But most of the time, people treat me as human, which is quite nice. Maybe the changing political climate, but yeah, 99% of people just treat me as any other creator.
So thank you so much for your time. Honestly, I really appreciate it.
It saves me editing. I'm going mad. Yeah. Well, if your teacher is watching this, you deserve an A+. This was fantastic interviewing. I've been on many a podcast, and this was my favorite.
Oh, let me give you a little tidbit of information. You want to know why I called it the TMPR podcast?
Sure.
Technically meeting project requirements because we needed to give it a name.
Oh, well, that's good. You've done well.
Thanks. This conversation with Hannah really challenged some preconceptions I had about what it's like being a woman in gaming. And looking back, it really highlighted that even though being a woman is something that affects her experiences with gaming, it's not the thing defining her experiences. It was also really interesting hearing about how her identity allowed her to foster a community with people who can relate to her experiences, and hearing about really reinforced the idea that corporations don't care, so to get progress, people's beliefs need to change. It's also really interesting to consider how a small number of people not clicking on a woman's video could so negatively harm the performance of their video, and in consequence, their career. After my interview, there was actually a really pertinent quote. Why did you actually choose to accept this interview?
I always like to say yes, you know.
So, in conclusion, you should say yes to giving me an A. And I am genuinely very sorry for subjecting you to 30 minutes of my voice. Back to a completely unrelated question. Why did you actually choose, woodcutting as the skill that you enjoy the most?
I just like woodcutting.
Okay.
I made a 22-part series about the worst skill in the game. Well, no, it's the best skill in the game, but the most underwhelming skill in the game. And it was a very unsuccessful series. It got half the views that I usually get. And then for some reason, everyone latched onto it, and now I'm the woodcutter. It is my favorite skill. I really enjoy it, but I don't know why I became the woodcutter.
That series is actually, I think, how I started watching you and I really enjoyed it. By the way.
It's just a random series about woodcutting.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of asking you to meet at the Varrock using chop wood during this conversation,
I'll give you some B-roll of woodcutting instead of my face.
Making an unofficial 23rd parts.
You know, gotta experience new things. That's why I stopped being a fucking doctor. Sorry, I shouldn't swear.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. I can just cut it out.
Alright.
As long as you didn't say the Australian word, right? It's fine.
Yeah, the bloody cunts watching this. Your teacher's a cunt. You can cut that one out.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. You're fantastic.
Yeah, honestly, I've been a huge fan of you since around 2018 or something. I've just been watching your content since. So really appreciate it. And hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. Sorry